So, this is our video games. Why are video games no longer fun? So let's go ahead and take a gander.
Are video games still fun?
Because we were burnt out at the end. Yeah, he might talk about that too. It's like video games were more fun when like we didn't have a lot of external life stressors, right? So all we could focus on was just like the fun and zaniness, right? Like, think of it this way. Like, let's take an example like my situation, right? Like, in the past 3 months, I've had to move. I've been through a breakup. I've had to like reformat a lot of aspects of my life. So like, when something bad happens in a game that I'm trying to like, you know, de-stress in, and the thing that I'm trying to de-stress in causes me stress, it's like other things have already stressed me out, right? Like, I have a lot of external stressors that are already bothering me and stressing me out, right? So, like, it kind of, like, hits harder because, like, I'm trying to get away from things that are externally bothering me by playing this game, and now this game's just adding to it. So it's like more painful, right? Whereas, like, you know, if you were playing as like a 14-year-old, you know, like your biggest worry is like, Susie in math class doesn't like me and I have BO, you know, like having a bad experience in a video game doesn't hit as hard when you don't have like all that, what's the word? I guess I'll just keep saying is like that the external stress, right? So it's like a lot easier to take some of the more unfun aspects of games on the chin. But now we have like bills, emotional stuff going on, and like, you know, adult things that are like frustrating. So like the small stuff hits harder. But yeah, video.
I don't mean that in the sense of like, is GTA 5 a fun game? It objectively is. Going in as Trevor and going on a rampage still gives me a small rush of serotonin. But now the game's been out for 7 years, and a rampage just isn't as fun as it used to be, and I Alt F4 and go back to do something else. That's where I think the main problem is. Not as fun as it used to be.
That's how I feel about DBD. That's how I feel about DBD. It really does. And I feel like a lot of content creators feel this way about DBD. It's not as fun as it used to be. A lot of my friends who play DBD say, you know, it's not as fun as it used to be. And I think it's like, those obviously come for different reasons. Obviously, a lot of my Survivor main friends are very upset that like locker flashlight saves got taken out, and the game is generally focused more towards slowdown and anti-chase killers. Killers have less fun in the game because, you know, gen efficiency's never really been addressed. Maps are still really, really bad for most of the killer roster. Unless you're playing an anti-chase killer, you're losing a lot of your games. We saw that today, is that technically, even though Knight is an anti-chase killer, he's not very efficient as an anti-chase killer. So despite him being anti-chase, he was still losing a lot of his matches. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, when you first joined DBD, you were fighting a lot of people that like just weren't at max efficiency, right? So like, you could play Michael or like Trapper and still like have results or have fun. But now once you get to like that 1600 cap in MMR and you get past that point, it's just like, it feels like you're so locked in. It feels like you're trapped. Like, in all the fun that you had up until that point, you got to let go, right? Like, even though I said this like earlier when I was first testing out the Knight, it's like I felt like I had to run at least 2 slowdown because the character was so like not making ends meet with just 1, which feels bad because like I want to just play whatever. I want to just have fun. I don't want to be forced to do anything. And I feel like in general, DBD is like, the more you play it, the more hours you get and the higher MMR you raise in, you're kind of forced to do more things if you want to like have a good time or get results. And I feel like that really like drains you over time, right? Like for example, like I have friends who have like 8,000 hours. So their MMR is high. And they have a lot of hours. So they go into matches just wanting to chill because like they're kind of burnt out on the game anyways. And when they go in and they have a bad experience, they just like quit the game. Right? It's just not as fun anymore. Right? It's just not as fun anymore. You hate it with no lives? Yeah, who could that be? Video games are a type of escapism that we technically can control, unlike certain things in real life. So when we lose control of real life, we have a sense of control in a game. If you don't have that, it affects our mood greatly. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's why I made that video earlier this week talking about like denial of gameplay is DBD's most frustrating aspect, because that takes that control away from you. Like, DBD is all about denying gameplay for the other side, whether that being way too efficient on gens, so you blink and 3 gens are gone, or you're running like quad slowdown so that you can't get gens done, or you're running a super oppressive anti-chase killer like Nurse, or you're, you know, running like, you know, like we were seeing earlier today, like, I'm going to sit on the gen with Sprint Burst, and the moment you come close, you're going to run away. Like, it's a denial of gameplay. The things that are good in this game are denial of gameplay. You don't get to play because I'm just going to I'm going to stack the deck so much against you in my favor that you essentially don't get to play. So when you have the external factors of life being out of your control, and then you have this game, DBD, which is primarily based in, you know, results are based on denying control, you just end up in this situation where you just feel out of control on both ends. And it can be a very, very miserable experience. And just ASIMs in general have a huge problem that none of them know how to address it. Yep. They sure do.
One of my best friends told me on Discord the other day that he was taking a break from Discord and his PC as he found it boring and wouldn't be online as much. At first I was wondering what he meant. Then I started to think about what he said, and I ended up agreeing. Let me give you an idea of what he meant. How often...
I feel like Sonic Frontiers and new Pokemon games are a fantastic example of this. They're not perfect, but they're just fun. Yeah, that's like that's why I really, really like my comfort games will always be like Resident Evil games and like RPGs, right? Because like Resident Evil, the good ones anyways, it puts you in a map that's really dangerous, but over time, as you learn to become more efficient, the map becomes less scary over time because you're slowly enacting control by being careful and using your map knowledge. And RPGs are like, you know, going through an interesting story, meeting new characters, exploring new places. Like there is no denial of control there, right? Like the whole point is like giving you a lot of control, and that's like why it's fulfilling. But like Zan was saying with like ASIMs, a lot of it is denial of control is the appeal. Denying control to somebody else, fun at someone else's expense, victory at somebody else's expense. And that's why it feels bad. Most frustrating thing? Yeah, card games are like that too. 100%, man.
Often have you finished school or work?
How many times have you played a card game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, and you just watch the guy just... And this chains into this, and this chains into that, and now I draw 3 times, and you're just sitting there in like a 15-minute turn. It's frustrating. It's just frustrating.
Go and sit by your PC or console, and we're so ready to have some fun. And then you just sit there for hours, waiting for something to happen. You have games to play, and they're good games. They're just not fun anymore.
That really hurts. That really hurts. That really hurts me. That hurts my feelings. That I'm called out. I'm called out there. Because you guys have been so kind to me. Like so kind to me. You guys are wonderful to me. Because like I mentioned having burnout in games. And like you guys got me games. You guys, like, there were a few of you that actually like spotted me games, and I really appreciate that. Like, let's see, like Matt got me Devil May Cry 5, and I appreciate that so much, like so much. Dex, who isn't here, but I appreciate him so much, got me Graveyard Keeper, which is kind of like a Stardew Valley except for like graveyard keeping. Like, wonderful games. Hulk wanted me to try. Where is it? Where are you? P. Predator Hunting Grounds? Which is an ASIM just for like the Predator games. But yeah, it's like I have all these games that like my friends got me, and I just like I'll load up Steam and I'll install them, and I just don't feel like playing them. And I guess he's gonna get into why, but like I feel that. Because like this is like look at my library. Like look at my library. Look at it. Look at me scroll. Watch me scroll. Look how many games I have. Look at that. Look how many games I have. Look at all that. Look at all these games. Now look at what I have installed. Look what I have installed. Look at that difference. I just end up sitting in front of the computer a lot. It probably looks like mine. It's because I get games every Saturday for the Saturday requests, so I end up with a lot of horror games and stuff. should actually hold a grudge against me for buying Home Sweet Home Survive. Yeah, because that ironically did not survive. Games you actually own? I don't think I've counted ever. Is there a way to tell? Is it just at the top? 346. 346. And I have like 13 installed. I have 13 out of 346 installed. So I feel that. Like I don't even play a lot of these. Like a lot of these like Faz and Forewarned, I just have installed so if my friends want to play, I can play with them. Resident Evil, I'm not even in a playthrough for that right now. I'm just kind of like, I just always eventually play Resident Evil 1 all over again. So I always have it installed for if I get that feeling. Haven't played Graveyard Keeper yet. I haven't installed because I want to. Doki Doki is still installed from Saturday. I haven't played it since. Dreamlight Valley, haven't played that like since the Scar update. Dark Souls Remastered, I'm playing through with Reaper with that right now. Among Us, once again, I haven't played that in God knows how long. It's just there if my friends want to play. Like, the only games I really play that are Friday the 13th, same thing. If my friends want to play, that's great, but that's it. Same thing with Elden Ring. The only games I really play are DBD and Rainbow Six. Yeah, I feel this. I feel this a lot.
I sit here most days looking at my desktop with hundreds of games on it, and I spend most of my time just on Chrome,
Fallout,
watching Netflix or YouTube.
Resident Evil is my favorite game franchise. Fallout is my second. Fallout is my second.
And I don't know why. I want to play these games, and sometimes I even open them, but I never make it further than an hour.
I love that map. I love that map so much.
Endlessly scrolling
I love
on
that
TikTok.
map.
So, I've been rambling about things not being fun. So, what is fun? Fun is a very subjective term. Ask 50 people what they find fun, and you'll get 50 different answers.
True.
One may say roller coasters.
No! No, they're not. Guys. Hold on, let me move a little bit. I have to be honest with you. You guys know me most well for my fear of snakes, because that's something I run into horror games way more often. It's my fear of snakes. Take my fear of snakes and multiply it by probably 30, and that's my fear of heights. I would call it a crippling fear of heights. A crippling fear of heights. Roller coasters are probably the most terrifying thing on the planet to me. Roller coasters, elevators, high places, death. Airplanes, death for me. I literally think I'm going to die. When everyone else is on the roller coaster, literally, you guys have fun. But that ain't happened to me. One time, I was in high school, and I was in a relationship with somebody, and the relationship was kind of going downhill. And to try and impress her, we went on a date to Kings Island, and she loved roller coasters. So I thought I was going to do a good thing, go ride a bunch of roller coasters, and be like, haha, I'll break through my fear and we'll bond together through this new activity. I think I had like 4 panic attacks that day. 4 panic attacks. We rode a drop tower, like one of those big ones that just drops you. I have never felt closer to death in my life. I'm not even exaggerating. I felt like I was going to die. I sobbed when I got off of it. That's how bad my panic attack was. I sobbed when I got off of it. Yeah. So, don't do that. Don't do that. If you know you have a crippling phobia, don't respect your phobia. Don't ignore that. Not for anybody.
Oh shit! Another may say
that was me.
Pegged in the arse.
What? Hello?
It's very subjective.
We were talking about roller coasters. What? How did we get here? What? How did we get here? Hello? Huh? One of these was incredibly relatable, and the other thing came out of nowhere.
But I'll throw my 2 cents in, because this is my YouTube channel, and my opinion is the only opinion that truly matters around here. Something is fun when you want to relive the moment again. This can be in the form of nostalgia or just going to bed with a grin on your face.
This is why I keep playing DBD, by the way. That's why I keep playing DBD. Like when I tell you guys I still mostly have fun on DBD, I know it doesn't sound like it a lot because I'm irritated a lot. But like, I like getting really, really good curves on Billy, getting those hype shots on Huntress, like just small things like that, or like really, really funny moments when we're playing on the Fridays. Like, it's just like little stuff like that I just like, I keep coming back because I want to have those things happen, right? Like last Friday, we had that ghost face that I spun 3 times and they smacked to the window. That was so funny. That was like gold. That was hilarious content. And I just like, I keep coming back because those moments are so funny. And like, they really do put a smile on my face. They really do. So like, even though I feel like a lot of the time I'm not having fun, those moments that are fun are just like really, really entertaining. So it's like why I keep coming back.
I remember a few years ago when me and my friends would spend hours playing Team Fortress 2, but not the actual game. We played the man versus machine mode. I used to play it on a MacBook and we could only play one map because that was the only one that would load.
I never got into Team Fortress 2, unfortunately.
It got so bad one night that we played it all night until the sun came up the next day. My dad was furious, but I didn't care.
I do that with Siege. that's where I'm at with Siege right now. Somebody will ask me to play it like 3 or 4 a.m. and I'm like, okay, we're good. And then like the sun comes up, I'm like, oh god, where did the time go? Like we literally get lost and we play all night. You don't have to say the number, Pidgey. You don't have to say the number. You don't have to say the number. Listen. Don't call me out, because what's gonna happen is if you call me out, we're not doing it in the group chat anymore. We won't play in the group chat. We'll just private call and play. That's the tech. That's the tech, Pidgey. We'll just private call. That way I can avoid being called out. We'll do it. We've done it before. We'll do it again. Don't you call me out like this. Please. To everyone yelling you to sleep. You know what's f***ed up? It's like Fire wasn't asleep either. Anyways, I'm going to watch the video. I'll deal with you later.
Childlike, unadulterated fun. That was a good night. I wish I could live that night again because life was easier then. I didn't really care about anything at that point.
Were you a bit of trolling? I got your troll right here. Hey, look, I found it.
Nostalgia is such a double-edged sword when you get older. On the one hand, it reminds you of good times in the past that you look back on fondly. But on the other hand, it reminds you of good times in the past and it makes you sad because you can't have those times again. Not saying that there can't be any good times in games nowadays. Me and my friends discovered a game called The Forest a while back.
I love The Forest. The Forest is my top 10 games. It's number 10, but it's my top 10 games. The Forest is so fun. So fun. I love The Forest. I am one of those people that, like, if you ask me to play The Forest, I will drop my life and play The Forest with you. I will find time. Couldn't enjoy Forest? Get out. Ban Pidgey out of here. Okay. But, like, all jokes aside, Forest, one of my favorite games of all time. I played a solo game to like actually complete the story. I streamed it all. It was legitimately one of my favorite experiences. I loved the just the survive out by yourself, craft things, try to live day to day, but also there's a story. That's what freaked me out. Is there was actually a huge plot happening. And you don't even like realize it until you start discovering it. And then it's just like a big rabbit hole. It's a huge rabbit hole of like, oh my God, what is happening on this island? And like discovering that was such a wonderful journey. I wish I could unlive it and experience it for the first time again. That's how much I love this game. You know what's funny, Linus, is that when I played it, that game a lot with my friends before, and I liked it then. But obviously we didn't do the plot because we were just like, let's just survive and mess around, you know? Because we were just messing around with friends. I didn't even know there was a plot to the game. I thought it was just a survive and mess around game. Survive against the cannibals, you know? When I started getting into the actual story, I was like, oh, it was such a wonderful game. I wish I could play it for the first time again.
Back, we had the biggest smiles on our faces for days, building huge bases, fighting off gruesome cannibals, and just generally being idiots.
Ah!
If you want a game to play with your friends, I highly suggest playing The Forest.
I love The Forest so much.
It's the most fun I've had with my friends in a long time. But it's still got stale, and now we almost never touch the game.
Yeah.
Except from when we all say we should play it again. We play it for a day straight and then never again. Because it doesn't bring back the memories we used to have about the game. And that's
where I'm at with DBD right now. Like off stream. Like on stream I'm still fine. Like on stream we're hanging out together. We're vibing, right? Like even if the games aren't fun, like you guys are great. And I'm not saying that to toot your horn. Like literally I like hanging out with you guys every day. Like I like spending time with you. So it's a fun time. But like off stream in my free time, like I log on and I'm just like, especially because the only way to play Survivor or just play with your friends is play Survivor. I don't really feel like playing Survivor anymore. I really don't. You know? Like Survivor is fun on stream because there's shenanigans, we can make content, we can laugh. But like, I don't know, like playing Survivor with one or two friends off stream just doesn't do it for me anymore. Like it really doesn't. Like, at least like when I'm facing like, you know, a Wesker with quad slowdown who's like tunneling off hook and all that, like we can cry and complain together, right? Like we can get irritated and like, you know, and we can like share in the experience, right? If I'm playing DBD with just like a friend or two, it's just not the same. Like why am I enduring the suffering, right? Like why am I enduring the annoying aspects of the game? For what? Like it's not content. So why am I playing this thing that like I would say like right now it's kind of like it's like what I said earlier in the week. It's kind of like a role reversal, right? Like I remember Killer was in a similar spot, like, and most of the time I've played actually, most of the time I've played Killer was in a similar spot where like Survivor builds were super oppressive and really frustrating. And there still are very oppressive Survivor builds. Like we ran into a lot today. Somebody was running like dead hard, you know, hyper focus, stakeout, prove, and then they were, I don't know if they had a toolbox, but like, you know, builds like that. We were running into that stuff today. There's still like really oppressive Survivor builds. But like, I feel like a lot of Killer builds are really oppressive. Like really oppressive. So it's just like, why would I willingly endure that off stream? You know? Why would I willingly endure that off stream? It's not fun. It's not as fun as it used to be, so why do it? Yeah, maybe that's why. Yeah.
The problem is with modern day video games. They don't leave a good enough memory. This is the problem I have with Pokemon. Every time a new Pokemon game would come out, I would buy it. I would never know why, because some of the recent ones aren't even that good.
True.
I've recently realised it's because I'm trying to bring back those memories of Diamond and Pearl that I had on my DS as a kid. Not knowing anything about type weaknesses or strategy, and just solely training my starter to a monstrously high level.
Do I have it on hand? Is it somewhere over here? Perfect example. Sorry, jingling the mic. Perfect example. New Pokemon Snap. New Pokemon Snap on the Switch. I barely played this game. I was in love. With the original Pokemon Snap. It was a magical experience for me. I loved that game so much. Even though I would download an emulator and go back and play that, like as a teenager, it would be such a fun experience, and I would love it a lot. But I played this. It wasn't doing it for me. I literally never finished it. Because it like all I wanted to do was like, I think he's right. It's just like what I wanted to do was just like feel the feelings of playing my original Pokemon Snap again. And this is just, you know, very far from it. So
Beating all enemy Pokemon in one hit. But none of them can do that. There's also the fact that we change as people over time.
yeah, this is what we start off with.
Be just lines of code made by companies who just want to make a profit. But
Sometimes awfully made lines of code behavior.
the players that change too. I know that's a cringe thing to say, but it is true. I'm not who I was when I was 12 playing TF2 till sunrise. I'm a much older, wiser person. We can't bring back those fun memories because we aren't the same people. It would be lying to say that I'm happier now than I was when I was a kid, playing Overwatch in 2016 with Lewis, raging when we lost and screaming when we won. Video games have provided people with some of the happiest memories anyone could ever ask for. But they've not been able to fill the same place that they used to. That's why I think video games just aren't that fun anymore.
That's it? Wow, I thought he was going to come to like some grander conclusion. I thought he was going to come to like a grander conclusion with that than just that. It's just, oh, we're just different people. I guess, like, it's like what I said at the beginning. It's like, it was more because, like, you know, like I said, we're adults now. So it's like a lot more things go on in our head. A lot more external stresses, you know, like bills and are my relationships okay? Are my friendships okay? Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into, like, being an adult that you don't really have to worry about as much when you're a kid, you know? Like, if, like for example, like, you know, this is gonna be like a very like no duh, but like just think about it. Like if you're married to someone and it's a breakup, it's a divorce and it's messy, right? But like if you're like 12 and your girlfriend breaks up with you, it's like whatever, you know, like you're like ooh, for like a week and then you're fine, right? So like having the intensity of being an adult on top of playing games, I really think does like it puts a lot of pressure on the game that doesn't exist previously, right? It puts a lot of pressure on the game. Like, why do you think like competitive communities like in video games like DBD or like even Siege or like, you know, like they're so nasty to each other. League, Dota. Why do you think these games have such like people are so awful and the community is so toxic to each other? Because they're all tired adults for the most part. They're tired, immature adults. They're tired, immature adults that don't want to deal with any slight inconvenience. Like you want to say a lot that's like, oh, well, it's just kids, right? That would be the easy answer. I wish that was the answer. I wish the answer that, you know, most toxicity was just kids. But most are unfortunately grown adults who are just so tired or upset or frustrated outside the game that the slightest things that upset them in game, they take out on other people. You can't argue with the little things. It's the little things that make up life. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And I think that's like with DBD, that's like a game, like it's supposed to be a party game. But it's not really a party game because, like, you know, people have found out through like camping, tunneling, gen efficiency, whatever sweaty thing you want to bring up, right? To make the game not a party game, to make it super intense. And at this point, the devs are leaning into making it not as much of a party game and kind of leaning more into those like very, very like sweat aspects of the game. So more and more people are coming to this game to relax, and less people are able to relax. I had a friend tell me semi recently that one of the like they quit DBD, and one of the reasons they quit DBD was because like there was a lot of external stress in their life and they just thought about it all the time while playing DBD. Like DBD doesn't provide that sense of escapism because they were thinking about stuff that was on their brain while playing all the time. I think the best thing a game can describe or can give is escapism. Like when I'm like way deep in like a Resident Evil game and I'm trying to like route my way through the mansion and I'm trying to think of like what should I kill, what should I leave alive in order to block a pathway or open up a pathway, you know, like that stuff. There's a certain point where I stop thinking about like life, period. I'm not thinking about, you know, relationships. I'm not thinking about friendships. I'm not thinking about bills. I'm thinking about just that. That's all I'm thinking about. How am I going to survive this mansion? How am I going to plot out this mansion? How am I going to get out of this mansion? That's all I'm thinking about. DBD doesn't provide that. Especially the more you play, the more it doesn't. I can't remember the last time I was in a DBD game and I wasn't just in the moment. There are little microcosmic moments, like when I do like a really fun like mind game to win a loop. I'm not thinking about life in those moments. There was a chase we had today where I hit the person on the bottom floor, went up through the main building and like leapt off the top. It was Dead Dog. I hit the Cheryl at the top, came up and over and swung down and landed right in front of her, downed her again. I was like, haha, you know, like I wasn't thinking during that, but like those moments are so tiny. Like, they're so tiny. They're so fleeting. And I think that's where DBD kind of fails as a game, is that it doesn't want to be a party game, but it also doesn't want to be a sweat game at the same time. And they're just appeasing both audiences and creating this experience that ultimately sucks you out of the escapism entirely and doesn't accomplish either of its goals. DBD has so much downtime, it's horrible for that. Yeah, like when you're sitting on a gen just holding M1, what else are you going to think about, right? Your mind's going to wander, right? I'm not saying a game has to completely hold your attention nonstop the entire time that you're playing, but like there's literally like 80 seconds of downtime just hanging out, right? Like it's just, what do you do there? Throw on music and play like Marvel Snap Hearthstone? Yeah, something that actually engrosses you, right? Something that actually engrosses you. And I've gotten to the point with DBD where like I used to play it off stream like every day. And now I don't even want to play it at all off stream anymore. Like sometimes I'll load up and I'll throw some hatches as Huntress, use no slowdown and just practice my shots. Sometimes I'll practice my curves on Billy. But I never want to play Survivor. And I used to play Survivor off stream every day. That was a thing for a while. And I just don't want to do it anymore. Because like I just got other stuff to think about. And it's not providing any escapism. It's just providing more of the stuff that I find frustrating, except in my free time now, you know? So I just don't do it anymore. Because it just doesn't provide that for me. Chilling on hook is also downtime. Very, very true. Very, very true. Bot matches? Bot matches are good. I'm glad there's bot matches. Because at least you can like mess around and chill. A lot of people love bot matches in online games and multiplayer games. So that's actually really healthy for the game. For the people that enjoy that. But for me, it's just like I play DBD because, like he said, there's memories I enjoy of like hitting really cool hatchets or getting that crisp curve. There was a curve we got on Monday that was super cool. I hit it at the last possible second. It was on the Jane on Dead Dog at the water tower. Like I hit it the last possible second. Like if I hesitated for a single second, I would have missed the curve. And I hit it. That was great. I felt really, really good about that. Those moments are the moments are really, really like spaced out, right? So it makes it hard to like want to play it off stream for that reason, you know, because those moments are really, really spaced out. And like I said, like we've been talking about, a lot of it has to do with the fact that like behavior is trying to balance both for casual and for competitive at the same time. They're both trying to appeal to sweats, but also appeal to casual people at the same time. So you just get this like gelatinous monster that's quite literally not one or the other, but just the frustrating aspects of both. And it really takes you out of the experience, and it makes it sure as heck makes it super hard to feel like you're escaping the game. Like it's making it hard to feel like you're really escaping something, right? Because that's where your brain goes, right? Especially my brain. I'm a very analytical person. That's just a thing. Even before, like when I played the original like Black Ops 1 and 2, that was always what I was about, because I wanted to grind like their ranked in that game. So I was like learning recoil patterns and funny stuff like that. That was way too in depth. And then I got into fighting games. Fighting games, you got to know a lot of frame data. I played that not professionally because I wasn't, but you know, I competed. I wanted to compete. I went to tournaments. I'm a very analytical person when it comes to that stuff. So my brain, when something is poorly balanced, whether it be a map, a perk combo, a play style, like my head goes right there. I'm immediately on it. Like bread on butter. I'm immediately, that's weird. I think that needs to be adjusted immediately. It's almost like the opposite of escapism for me. It's almost the opposite of escapism. I can't escape thinking about these things because no offense to behavior, because they're just like, it sounds like they're losing people all the time. It feels like they're rotating devs a lot, and it's like, it's hard to keep a design philosophy when stuff like that's happening. But like, I legitimately don't think they have any view, like consistent view of what they want their game to look like. And that messiness, that sloppiness, since we want to, DBD term, sloppy butcher. That sloppiness of like what they want the game to be, I feel that. I feel that when I play the game. I feel that sloppiness. I feel how buggy it is. I feel the complete lack of design philosophy when it comes to, is this a sweaty game or is it a casual game? I feel that. I feel where things have been sloppy. I feel where things have not necessarily been lazy, but just kind of like thrown at the wall. You know? And it's hard to ignore that. And it's those kind of like thoughts that get in my head that make it difficult to feel like I'm escaping, which is what a game should provide. A video game should provide escapism. You should feel like you're escaping from this, from whatever's bothering you in real life. But this game, because it's so sloppy, because it's so buggy, because it's so indecisive on what it wants to be, it's super distracting. It's super distracting. And that's coming from somebody who has almost 4K hours, right? Like, I've been with this game for a while. So, like, a lot of the cool stuff that wore off, like the aesthetic, the IPs, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, unless you haven't played this game for a while, will hold you over for a really long time. A lot of really dynamic characters. Huntress, even Blight, despite the community. Like, there's a lot of dynamic characters with very high skill ceilings. And they're always releasing content every 3 months. There's a lot of stuff that would, like, theoretically hold you over if you're not a veteran player, right? But the more I play this game, the more I'm kind of just, like, seeing that general sloppiness, that general indecision on the game's direction and how they want things to be. And it's really hard to ignore. It's really hard to ignore. I think they want the game to be continued to change as they see people play the game because of that. They're stuck. Yeah. Really start to see the issues a lot because you have solid knowledge. Yeah, because, like, it's no longer like see the difference between, like, let's say you have like 300 hours and a Blight hug texts you, right? And you're probably like, whoa, I didn't know that character could do that. That's so crazy. Like, you're probably, like, not mad, but, like, shocked or enthused. You're like, that was crazy. But, like, I barely play Blight and I can hug tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, I play that character, like, once every 2 weeks. And in the middle of a match, I'll just randomly hug tech just because I'm like, oh, that's right. This tech exists. And then I can just do it. It's not difficult at all. And it's really BS. Like, it leaves you so little room to react. So it not only is it not that hard to do, but it leaves you so little room to counterplay. So it's actually not that amazing. It's not that crazy. But, like, as a younger player, as a newer player, you don't know that, so you're probably more enthused or shocked being hit by it. But as an older player, when you get hit by that, you're just like, yeah, I hope that gets removed. You know, like, you're just disappointed, right? You're just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, Nurse is a perfect example, Pidgey. Like, when you get bodied by a Nurse as a newer player, you're like, oh my god, that player's really good. But as a more experienced player, you're like, her skill floor is not that high. And you can do crazy stuff as Nurses if you play her for even, like, a day, you know? Like, you see through the smoke and mirrors, you know? You see through the smoke and mirrors, and it becomes very, very, like, clear that what's happening is, like, not actually as in-depth or as crazy as you thought it was. It's not as entertaining as you thought it was. Played Nurse for 3 hours, and they were already doing well. Went from 1Ks to 4Ks. Yep. She's really not that difficult. Is she difficult? Yeah, but not that much. She's different. I think the big word is she's different. She's very, very different. You really have to play a whole different kind of game than you play with every other killer, but once you adjust to that, it's not that hard. But yeah, I think it's that veil being lifted as you know more and more about the game. And that's, like, something that, like, it's like with, like, fighting games, for example. Like I played Street Fighter V. Like, the more, like, there was always more, right? Like, the more veteran of a player you became, there was always more to learn. Like, fighting games are very much they're very fun for the emerging players, and they're also really, really fun for veteran players. Their complexity is clear and apparent, and there's always more to learn. DBD doesn't have that. DBD isn't fun because the only fun you really have is as a new player or a relatively new player. Veteran players, there's not any depth to it. There's no depth to being a veteran player in DBD, and that's where this game, and any game that practices this, since we're talking about video games in general, any video game that has nothing for somebody who plays a lot, That's just bad game design. It just is. You can survive longer in matches, but like if the matches aren't fun, why does that matter? That's about it. Yeah, like even like that, like I said, like if you're not enjoying the match, does it matter if you can be in it longer? You know, like if you're not having a good time, do you really want to be there? You know. So it's just like there's nothing really to entertain the veteran player base. There's really not. The more experience you get in Dead by Daylight, the less fun it gets. And I think that's its primary flaw as a video game. Is that the more you play it, the less fun it gets. When really, those people you should be appeasing the most because they're the ones that are most likely to spend money on your game because they're the ones that are most invested, right? Like, for example, like I usually, like I was saying earlier, like usually I buy like a skin or two for the new characters that come out. Night came out, day of recording. I didn't get a single thing for him. Because he was not fun. He was really buggy. He wasn't even that strong. Like, there's nothing for me to invest in there. There's nothing for me to invest in there. So I'm just like, I just didn't feel like spending money on him. You know? It's just another killer that's just going to go in. It's going to be on my roster, and I'm not really going to play him. So now, you know, tomorrow when I play killer, it's back to the same old, same old. I'm going to be playing Huntress and Billy because those are the characters that actually have, like, very high skill ceilings, and there's actually something to climb there. But that's like 2 characters in a giant game, you know? 2 characters in a giant game. And it's just like, I don't know. That's why you see so many people quitting the game. So many people on long breaks, or retiring from DBD entirely, or going to other games. How many streamers have you seen quit DBD outright? I think if I didn't, like, I feel like that's why I love content creating so much with DBD, because I can always teach people how to play the game. I can always show people cool things about certain characters. I can always give people tips. I can always, like, help. I can teach. I can share emotional experiences, positive, negative. That's the thrill of DBD for me, is being able to experience it with others. And a lot of people don't have that because they don't stream. They don't play with a ton of friends. And if you don't have that, what do you do? And I don't think you do anything. They don't expect people 5K hours to stay around, but they should. There's plenty of games that have that. Plenty of games. And the fact that they don't is really disappointing. They're great for long-time players, yep. And DB doesn't have that facet. They're just take this funny skin for your character that you may or may not play and keep playing. A lot of things make video games not fun in general, but I think those are the things that make DBD not fun in general.